Ahoy, this is Admiral. Welcome to the second episode of Community Chest, where we discuss community content, and today the topic is military unit reskins. Immersive regional skins for the very European-looking generic AoE 2 military units has been a popular proposal for years, and in general is something I support, but very much depending on the way in which it's done. We'll start off with a bit of spice by covering what I think is the wrong way to go about it. Recently, from a thread on the forums, I've come across a couple silly content maxing videos trying to sell you on the brilliant idea of asking the devs to plunder the scenario editor's assets, to cannibalize campaign heroes and other units, so that we can have some questionable reskins of generic units. Included is this particularly goofy proposal for supposedly immersive Mesoamerican reskins that, apart from the recycled Jaguar warrior skin of the Emperor Itzcoatl, don't resemble Aztec or Maya warriors in any way, shape, or form, and aren't all even from the right continent. I understand that not everyone is particularly well versed in Mesoamerican history, but particularly bad is the proposal to replace the skirmisher, which indeed looks rather European, but otherwise broadly represents warriors with the Atlatl, for which both Aztecs and Mayas were famous, and for which they both have a unique technology, with a random tomahawk-throwing warrior separated by hundreds of years in time and thousands of miles in space. This would be like replacing Japanese arbalesters with the chakram thrower because they're both ranged units from the continent of Asia. Now, I completely support individuals making desired changes for a scenario or personal mod to suit their tastes, especially considering they have nothing else to work with. And this is something that I and others have done to add flavor to specific scenarios. And indeed, I think this can be a fine idea for a mod, and can be done very easily by simply copying and pasting graphic IDs, at least for single-player skirmishes, campaigns, and multiplayer lobby games, if everyone is using the same mod. If you want me to make a reskin mod, or even show you how to do it yourself, it's incredibly easy. More so than any mod I've ever showcased, and can be done in a couple minutes per unit. But as far as official content, we deserve better. Begging the developers to do more lazy content recycling a la Victors and Vanquished is not something that I'm ever going to promote. And frankly, if we're going to have regional skins, there ought to be some actual effort put into them. And that would mean new graphics, which the game has been sorely lacking for a couple years now. Lack of any new visual assets was one of my major critiques of Victors and Vanquished, and is broadly one of the greatest missed opportunities in the game generally. The only strong exception I'd make for this is regional monks, where several of the existing hero monks are actually a good fit, and the process of making regional monks started well over 20 years ago with the Conqueror's expansions, Aztec and Maya monk skins, but remains unfinished to this day. There was even a design document shown by the official developers for more regional monks and monasteries, although this is from several years ago and has not been confirmed as something they're following through on. Although I certainly hope that they do, and I can do a more in-depth video on this in the near future. But moving on to regional military units, we have the work of Gaudio, who has some excellent concepts showing how they could be done. And I'll talk about what I think makes these so great, especially contrasted with the earlier recycling examples. First off, all of these units are instantly recognizable, and none of them would be confused with unique units. One of the biggest issues with reskins is that they could be confusing if the units look too different from each other, or from the generic units we're used to. But that's not a problem here at all. If anything, I think they could be made quite a bit more distinct, and would still have high readability. Now, I do have some minor quibbles with the historicity of these, but I won't overstate that as this is just a rough concept art, and in my opinion, the American skin set is the most difficult to reconcile with all the others in a historically robust way. But you'll notice that he's preserved the same poses, dimensions, and color schemes, making it very clear what these units are supposed to be, yet giving them a distinct regional flavor. The last two units of the swordsman line even have a large two-handed makwawik, which is a historical weapon of both the Aztecs and Mayas. Moving on, we have a potential Middle Eastern reskin. Once again, these are extremely recognizable, to the point that when zoomed out, it may not be instantly clear that all of them have changed. So I do think there's room for a bit more distinction. For example, more curved swords for the swordsman line, among several other things. But close up, these are very clearly immersive Middle Eastern influenced designs, and adding official skins like this, of course professional and polished, would add a lot to the game. So shout out to Gaudio for his impressive work, and I really hope something like this gets implemented. Here's a similar concept by the Steam user Azmac, where the pikeman unit is even a little bit more distinct, but I still think very recognizable. Overall, I really think that both of these showcase the ideal way to do regional skins. An excellent compromise between immersion and readability. This would add a ton more value to the game than icon packs or other such offerings, and is something that players have been asking for many years. And of course, for those uninterested in such a change, or who prefer the original designs for whatever reason, this skin pack DLC would be client-side only, meaning that you could enable or disable it like the Small Trees mod, and other players would be able to do the same, so that the appearance of units in-game is entirely up to you and not affected by the choices of others. So those are my thoughts on how regional reskins ought to be done, but what do you think? Is it time we got a graphics update, perhaps as a DLC? Or would you be okay with paying $12.99 USD for a recycled editor unit reskin pack that a first day intern put together before lunch with existing assets?
Not a great plan.
Or are you just less concerned about graphics generally, and more interested in other types of content or updates? Either way, you can let me know in the comments. That's all for today. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. Till next time.